Welcome to Small Business University Online, powered by Small Business Expo, America's biggest business trade show and conference. We want to extend a very special thank you to AT&T Business for supporting small business and being our presenting sponsor. Please be sure to check out our complete webinar schedule and all on-demand recordings from previous webinars on smallbusinessuniversity.online. All of our webinars are free and full of incredible information to help you grow your business. This webinar is being recorded and will be made available within 24 hours on smallbusinessuniversity.online. At this time, we are turning the public chat feature off for the presentation. We will reopen the public chat window closer to the end so that you can post your questions for our presenter to answer during the open Q&A portion. And now, I'm very excited to introduce today's webinar. Please take it away.
Thank you very much, and hello everybody. I hope you're having a good time at the Small Business Expo so far, and thank you very much for spending the next 45 minutes with us today. Hey, do not let my accent fool you. You are still in the Minneapolis Small Business Exhibition. My name is Ali. I am originally from the UK, and I decided to make Minnesota my home 2 years ago. And I am part of the Kaizen Consulting Group. And for those of you who haven't come across the Kaizen Consulting Group before, we'll know, but just to tell you a little bit about us, we are a leadership and coaching firm. So we generally work with clients one-on-one to help them grow their businesses and reach their targets that they have. Really pleased to that we've worked with over 1,000 companies so far. We have offices in the UAE, here in Minnesota, and we also have clients in the UK as well, where I'm from. And our vision is very simple. We want to create a positive impact in the economy, society, and the environment of the countries that we operate in. So let's just jump straight into it today then. And really what we're going to be talking about is how I set up a marketing machine to grow my business. And why is that really important then? Because so many businesses that I work with, when we go over what they've done in terms of marketing so far, will say that, oh, you know, we ran this campaign and then we didn't do anything for a while, and then we ran something else and we didn't do anything for a while. And actually what I want to show you here, that marketing cannot be, let's throw things at the wall and see what sticks. You know, let's do things on an ad hoc basis. Because the problem with that is that we don't know what the results of our work is going to be. Okay, and therefore the reason why I use these words deliberately is setting up a marketing machine is that marketing should be done in such a way that I know how much I'm going to invest in my marketing. I know who I'm trying to target. I know specifically what I want to get out of that. And therefore, if I know my inputs, I can work it through a process, and then I know what my outputs are going to be. So by the end of it, I should be able to say, if I run this marketing campaign, this is the impact it's going to have on our business. Okay, and this is what a lot of large corporates do. And I want to show you how small businesses can also implement the same strategies for this. Okay. So we're going to run over 3 principles today. We're going to spend the longest time on the first one. I'll show you the second one. And then the third one is all about getting to know your numbers. Okay. Now, what is the purpose of marketing then? The key thing about marketing is that you do not want to be your industry's best kept secret. Okay. What do I mean by this? Well, there's this myth in business that as long as I have a good product and I sell it at good value, then customers are going to come and I'm going to be really successful. Right? The challenge with that is we see in the US thousands of companies selling good products, good services, providing good value, but unfortunately not lasting in business. Okay. And on the contrary, what we also see, unfortunately, are businesses selling bad products, bad services, and actually doing okay from a financial basis. Okay. Why is that, and how do I know this? Well, we all know about that one product that you've bought and it's almost been like instant regret. It broke the next day. You bought a nice shirt and it, tore the next day or whatever that is. But we've all been there where we've paid for a holiday and it hasn't been what we were expecting it to be. All right. And therefore, actually, in order to run a sustainable, good, ethical business, you need a good product or service at good value with good marketing. All right. And therefore, the purpose of marketing is making sure that I'm not the industry's best kept secret, that actually I'm informing people about what I have, that I'm engaging with them so they know what I'm all about, that I'm building my brand, that when I mention a certain company, you can associate exactly what it's about. And also, it's about the sale. It's about marketing to them so they will buy off you. And this is the bit that a lot of people miss, is that it's about retaining customers as well. That actually once they've bought from me, I still need to continue marketing to them so they continue to buy from me in the future. And that's what I want for you to have in the back of the mind as we're going through these principles of setting up our marketing machine. So our first principle then, and I'm gonna mention an acronym over here. It's called AIDA. Okay, AIDA. What do we mean by AIDA? Well, AIDA is going to be our guide to set up a 4-step journey for our customer. Okay, it's going to make it seamless for them to get to know us, engage with us, and actually end up buying from us. And it's also going to help you increase your conversion rate. Okay, so from the people who are actually who know about you and want to buy from you, to the people who actually do end up buying from you, is going to help you increase that conversion rate. So let's go into this then. So the principles of AIDA is this: the journey that you want to take your customers through is awareness. First of all, we want them to be aware of our product. Then we want them to be interested in us. Then we want them to have a desire to actually buy from us. And then we want the action piece of it, of them actually buying from us. Okay. Why is this really important? Well, let me talk you through all of these steps first, and then we're going to see how it plays out in the business world. So the awareness part of it is taking your customer from a place of not knowing you at all to actually knowing that you exist. Okay. Maybe you're driving down the highway and you see that billboard of a company selling a particular type of insurance. Oh, I never knew that company sells that. Maybe I'm walking around the Mall of America and I see an electronic screen or a shop window of a new gym that's opening, for example. Right? Maybe I'm scrolling through my Facebook feed, and then I see these promoted messages coming up of telling me how there's a new gym opening up near me. I now know about this gym. Right? This one look, by the way, is what the companies spend millions of dollars on. Okay, just to get your attention to actually say, hey, did you know that we actually exist? So that's the first piece of awareness. The second piece then is around interest. Now you've got their awareness, how do you keep them interested in you? Or more specifically, how do you keep them interested to weed out the people who you actually want to work with? Sorry, to bring in the people who you want to work with and weed out the people who actually you don't want to sell to or are not relevant to you. What do I mean by this? Well, in the gym, once I know that there's a gym opening up next to me, then what's the message that's going to keep me interested? Hey, if you join our group exercise programs, you will lose 10 kilograms in 6 months or whatever that is. Okay, now you've got me interested because I need to lose 10 kilograms, seeing as I've been sitting at home for the past year. Right. But actually, if I'm in the best shape of my life, maybe that's not going to grab me and I'm going to carry on. Maybe the message is, hey, exercise is really good for your mental health and therefore you want to join our programs. Well, if I'm struggling right now with my mental well-being, then that's going to be something that applies to me. Right? Maybe there's a medication that says take this medication for 6 weeks, and if you're bald, you will get a full head of hair. Well, now you've got me interested. Okay, many of you wouldn't be interested in that, but that's going to really appeal to me. What is that? What is that hook that's going to keep them interested? 2 points you need to remember here, though. First of all, is it just one message that's going to interest me, or actually does your product solve a number of different needs, and therefore different people will be interested in your product for different reasons. It's most probably going to be the latter. And therefore, you need to make sure that you are appealing to all of those different audiences. Does that mean that my one message is going to have 10 different reasons why you should be interested? Probably not. That's not going to be most effective. But could you have different messages that are appealing to different people? Absolutely. That's probably the most effective way of going from that. Okay. Remember, at this interest level, this is just me internally saying, oh, yeah, actually, I could be interested in this product. The next stage then is desire. Okay. And the difference between interest and desire is that with desire, it takes me from this internal feeling of wanting to work with you to actually manifesting that out in the world somehow. So, what do we mean by this? So, at this point, at desire stage, maybe they've picked up the phone and they're interested in knowing about what gym packages you have, for example. Maybe they're on your website and they're doing a little bit of research about what you have to offer. Maybe they have engaging in your social media feeds and have liked you on Facebook or something like that. Okay, so that's the desire stage. Now you know that they are particularly interested in working with you or buying from you. And then the final stage, then it's up to you then, once they're interacting with you, is take them from desire to the action, which is the actual sales process. Why is this so important, and why do I talk about this in terms of a marketing machine? Well, so many small businesses focus on those bottom two areas, the desire and the action piece. And it's what we call sales driven strategies. Okay, great, works to a certain extent. But actually, the problem with this is that it only attracts customers who are ready to work with you right now. It only attracts customers who already have a desire for your product. The key thing is, though, is that you want to make sure that you're also having activities to build the awareness of you and your brand and build interest as well. Because once they've got the awareness and they've got the interest, at some point in the future, will they move to that desire and action phase? And therefore, your marketing machine is really going to be built on the awareness and interest stage of this. How do companies do this? So let's take an example of the airline industry, right? And I know there's a travel agent on the webinar here, so this is a really good example actually. So I've decided that I want to travel from Minneapolis to London Heathrow. So I would do what any sensible person would do, is go onto Google and type in Minneapolis to London Heathrow. I then get a list of websites that come up on my computer, right? And one of them will be, hey, cheapest flights from Minneapolis to London Heathrow. One of them would be best flights to Minneapolis to Heathrow. All right, so the awareness is there. The website, the travel agent, has come up on my Google search. That tagline of cheapest flight, best flight, fastest flight, safest flight, whatever it is that's on there, is whatever one appeals to me, I'm going to click on it. That click on the website represents interest. Now I'm on there, I'm looking at flights. Okay? Maybe I log off, I've got some prices and stuff. Now, the travel industry is very clever, isn't it? Because what it does is it puts cookies on our computers. So now when I log on again and say, hey, let me go on and check out these flights again, it knows, hey, this is the second time Ali is coming on. Now, what does it do? It sort of either holds the prices or increases it a little bit, because now I'm on desire stage that actually I'm going to really interested in actually booking these flights. And then I will eventually go on and book. The key thing is over here is that the airline industry has really thought of a clever ways to actually track this awareness, interest, desire, action. The question that I ask for you is that for your business, how do you know at what stage customers are? Okay, what behaviors are they demonstrating at each stage? Number one. And number two, what marketing strategies are you going to put in place for each stage to build your marketing machine? Let me give you an example of a client that I've worked with. So I worked with a group of opticians. So you go there, you get your eyes tested, and you buy glasses from them, right? So they send out a letter to the old patients to say, hey, it's been 2 years since you've had your sight test, and you're now, due another test, book in a call with us. What they were finding is that their success rate, as we measured it, was around 30% to those letters. So we went through all of these stages and says, okay, what can we do to increase our conversion at each stage? So in awareness, we're sending them a letter in a white envelope. Can we maybe, what happens with letters in white envelopes? With me, I open them, pray that they're not a bill, and if they're not a bill, then I throw it in the garbage. Or actually, some people just throw it in the garbage, right? So is there any way that we can do something to increase awareness? So what we've done is we changed it, instead of a letter, we changed it to a postcard, and we made it into a nice fancy postcard that didn't look like a standard postcard, that would really stick out as they get their mail. All right. Just that simple change took their conversion from like 30% to 38%, because people were reading it. They were like, oh, okay, yeah, I want to book my site test, and it increased that awareness straight away. The second thing we've done then, so after doing that, monitoring that for a few months, we then said, okay, what can we do to get more interest in? We've got their awareness. What can we do to get more interest? At the moment, we're saying, hey, your site test is due. Now, if I've got site problems, I'll probably book in a night test. If I feel like my eyes are fine, then I'll be like, oh, I'll put that off. I'll do it at some point and forget about it. So then we put a very simple message on there. If it was the summer months, come in and look at our new range of sunglasses. If it's the winter months, maybe people are getting ready to go skiing, etc., come in and look at our range of prescription ski goggles, for example. Okay, took conversion from 38% to around mid-40s. So the conversion went from 30% to 45% after being really, really specific and targeted, right? We played with the, call us to book an appointment, if in terms of the desire stage, to book an appointment online, for example. Right? We calculated that an increase in 5% led to an increase in 75K revenue. So 15% led to over 200K revenue for this particular opticians. Okay, was that a good investment of their time? Absolutely. Did they pay anyway close to 200K to get this? Absolutely no. So really good use of their time. Hopefully that shows you then the concept of the AIDA model. Okay, this is something for you to reflect on then. Okay, so how would you see each being displayed by your customers? What strategy will you implement at each step, and how much resources are you going to spend in each step? So just to give you a heads up, if it's a white slide, it's content for you. If it's a black slide, it's something for you to reflect on. So feel free to note this down. Maybe you just want to take a picture of this slide with your phone, so you've got some work to do this evening or over the next few days. All right. But this is going to be really key for you to go through that 4-stage journey. Just give you one more second just to get that down before I move on to the next slide. Perfect. So that's component 1 of your marketing machine. It's the AIDA model. Component number 2 then that I want to show you is that there are 2 roads in marketing. Right? These roads are parallel. They never cross each other. What do we mean? What we mean by this is that there are 2 activities that your marketing machine should have, and they're not combined with each other. You need to treat them separately. Right? And the 2 activities are this: inbound marketing and outbound marketing. When I think about what most small businesses do, it's outbound marketing. It's sales related. Your marketing machine to build a long-term sustainable business is going to be built on your inbound marketing. So let's make sure we really understand the difference between the 2. So in inbound marketing, what's happening? Leads are actually coming to you. Your phone's ringing, your emails are coming in of people wanting to say, hey, we want to work with you. Right? Your outbound marketing is actually you are going out to customers, you are going out to clients and trying to get them to work with you. Inbound marketing, it's organic. All right, you're putting content out there, you're putting videos out there, maybe you've written a book, but there's things that you are doing over a period of time where it's building up a customer base and a client base as things are going out about you. Right? Outbound is non-organic. What does that mean? Is that, hey, we're doing an email blast to all of our customers. We're putting out some marketing campaign on the radio or on social media or on the TV, whatever that is. It's for a very specific period of time. And we're saying, hey, sign up by the end of April to get this. deal or to buy from us or to work with us. Okay, it's a much more specific window of time and opportunity that the person has to work with you. Your inbound marketing, it's front loaded. What do we mean by this? Well, if you're making an investment of, say, $12,000 in this, that would be $1,000 a month, right, for the year. But with inbound marketing, what happens is that actually you're front loading that investment. Maybe it's $6,000 up front, and then you're paying $500. Maybe you're spending a week of your time on it, but then after that, you're spending a couple of hours a week. Right? Whatever that resource is, it's front loaded. Maybe that's investment in your website. Maybe that's investment in the content that you're putting in there. Okay. And then it just pays rewards. Whereas your outbound, the investment is spread over that marketing campaign. Generally, then, inbound, when done correctly, will give you a lower cost per lead. And we're going to have a look at what we mean by cost per lead in just a second. Right? Whereas your outbound is going to be the more expensive way of working. It's going to give you a higher cost per lead. And then there's some examples for you then. So you've got your content for inbound, your PR, your website, all of these things where people are, and this really focuses on the awareness and interest part of the AIDA model. Whereas your outbound is more like any special offers you've got, any direct mails you're doing, the pay-per-clicks that you have on Google, for example, all right? Very specific period of time. Why is this really important to know? Because the problem is if I only spend time on my outbound sales, then I'm only interacting with people who are ready to buy from me right now. And the challenge with that is maybe if I've got an offer happening for 3 months, maybe not everybody's ready to buy from me. Okay, so I saw just before the webinar started, somebody said that they have a training and development company. Well, if I'm delivering a really good training program and I say, hey, you need to sign up to this training program in the next 3 months, and I'm going to give you this special price for it, fine if I'm ready to sign up. But maybe these next 3 months don't work out for me, and I'm really interested in your product, but actually I need the next 6 months to decide. If I'm only focusing on my short term, then I've only got that percentage of the market who are ready to buy. If I extend that time out, then there's going to be more people ready to buy. If it goes over 9 months, then there's even more people, 1 year, even more people, and you get the idea, right? That area beneath the graph gets bigger and bigger. Does that mean I only do inbound and not outbound? Absolutely not. Outbound is really good when I've got a flash sale happening, for example, when it's a seasonal product and, I want people to give it as gifts over Christmas or, Mother's Day or whatever. So it's a really good time. It's the combination of both that is going to help you build your marketing machine. So that's component number 2, inbound and outbound marketing. And here's some exercises for you to do on this one. Sorry, so feel free just to write that down or take a picture. Okay, so what inbound marketing activities are you undertaking right now? And what outbound marketing activities are you taking right now? And then the third thing is, how much resources, time, money, effort, etc. do you spend on each activity? Okay, by the way, with these exercises, this is you doing almost a mini marketing audit for yourself, right? As part of you registering for this course, you're entitled to, well, we're going to give 10 people a free marketing audit where we're going to spend an hour with you and look at what you need to do to set up a marketing machine. If that's of interest to you, feel free to get in touch. If I can ask at the end of this webinar for my contact details to be put in the chat, there'll be a LinkedIn and email address in there, and we can get that in there whenever is relevant. The third part then of your marketing machine is going to be knowing your numbers. And I love this concept. So I come from a finance background, so it's no surprise that I love this bit. But this is going to be the really important part of setting up your marketing machine. And it's what we call the minimum effective dose. What's the minimum amount that you need to invest in your marketing to get one customer as a result from this? And bear with me, for those of you who don't like numbers, you're not going to enjoy this bit, but it's going to be really important for you to get exactly what we're doing. Okay, so here's an example for you. Let's say I spend $5,000 on marketing. That's how much I invest, right? And as a result of that, I get 100 leads. What do I mean by leads? So leads are people who have expressed some sort of desire to work with us. Out of those 100 leads, if I do 5,000 divided by the 100 leads, okay, I know that my cost per lead is $50. So for every one lead, I've essentially paid $50 for that. Okay, so if I only wanted 50 leads, if I wanted half the leads, I'd half the amount of investment that I've put into the business. Then, if let's say then that actually out of those 100, only 20% of them convert. And when I say only, that's a pretty good percentage in most industries. So 20% of them actually convert to go on and be a customer, right? On that basis, then the number of new customers that I have is 20. And therefore, if I want to work out what my customer acquisition cost is, so I take my $5,000 divided by my 20, that gives me a client acquisition cost of $250. Why is that relevant? That means then that for me to get one customer, new customer, I need to spend $250 in marketing, right? So let's say now I'm your business coach and I've run these numbers for you, and you come to me and say, "Hey, Ali, I done a leaflet drop last week. I didn't get any customers from there. Leaflet drops are a waste of time. I'm not doing that anymore." The first question I'd ask you is, well, okay, how much money did you spend on that leaflet drop? I spent $200 on there. Well, if you've only spent $200, are you going to get any customers? Absolutely not, because we know that you need to spend at least $250 to get one customer. On the contrary, if I'm looking at my business and I'm thinking, hey, I need 4 new customers over the coming few months to make sure I continue doing well, we can reverse that, right? And say, well, okay, so I need to spend approximately $1,000 on marketing I need to spend $1,000 on marketing to make sure I get 4 new customers coming through. The reason why we call this minimum effective dose is because I can now think about what's the number of customers I want, how much do I need to spend for that. If I spend any more than that, it's going to be a waste. If I spend any less than that, it's going to be a waste. Okay, I know exactly what I need to do. Have I oversimplified this? Yeah, a little bit. But is it much more complicated than this? Not really, to be honest with you. But what it involves is a few months of trial and error. It involves you spending a little bit on marketing. It then involves you tracking. So remember, we talked about this machine, so you know your inputs. It involves you tracking the processes and the progress that's happening. It involves you knowing exactly which customers are coming as a result of your marketing spend. And then finally, the output. How many of them have actually converted into customers? Okay, so people will ask me at this point, well, how do I know who's come up as a result of my actual marketing and they're not just other customers that would have come to me anyway? And the key thing I say to that is ask the question. Okay, what are you doing at point of sale for you to understand where your customers have come from? If you're running a particular marketing campaign and you have a website, create a landing page for that particular marketing campaign. So you know anybody who's come through this marketing campaign has landed on this website. So you know that exactly how many customers you have. If that's not how you operate, it's more high touch than high tech, then when customer comes to you, have some sort of enrollment form or whatever that is, or simply, as strange as it sounds in this day and age, have the conversation of, hey, how did you hear about us? And keep some sort of record of where your customers are coming from. So then you can pin it down to a particular marketing campaign. So that's step one. Then step two is, okay, I'm going to run that same marketing campaign, but I'm going to make a tweak to it. Okay, I'm going to change something. Maybe the offers are going to be different. Maybe the place that I'm going to run this campaign is going to be different. Maybe it's going to be on Instagram instead of Facebook, whatever that is. And then track what's happening. And then have a look at what's happened by numbers, right? We really want a methodical, scientific approach to marketing in order for you to build a sustainable business. Remember at the start of this session is that we don't want this sort of let's throw everything at it and see what comes back. Because once you're able to do this, then you can be very targeted about how you're going to spend your money and where you're going to spend it. So from there, then, once you understand your numbers and that minimum effective dose, then the final piece that you want to do then is how do I go about creating an unlimited marketing machine? Because once I know my numbers, I know exactly what I need to do. We're not going to consider marketing as spending. We're going to consider it as an investment in our business, just like how we were to invest in any assets, right? So in terms of your exercises for this piece, what are your current numbers? What strategies are not working for you? And why is that? And what do you need to do differently? And what do you need to stop doing and what do you need to do more of? Remember those examples I gave? If you're tracking everything, you're going to know exactly what you need to do more of and what you need to do less of. Let me give you a moment to take a picture or take a note of those 3 questions before I then go on to show you how you can use this principle to create what we call an unlimited marketing fund. Because once you know your numbers, then you can do something very cool. All right, and I'm gonna move on now then. So once you know your customer acquisition cost, remember how we calculated customer acquisition cost? We took the amount that you spent on your marketing divided by the number of customers that actually converted. In our case, it was $250. Then what you need to think about is what is your average profit on a transaction? Okay, and again, you need to run some numbers. Maybe you can get your bookkeeper or your CPA to help you out here if you're not sure how to do this. But let's say then, on average, you have a profit of, let's call it $500, right, per product, for example. Right? And then think about, well, how often would a customer typically buy from you? Is it once a year? Is it once every 6 months? Is it just once and then that's it? Right? And then the question I ask you is imagine then from all the new customers that you have, imagine if you were to take the profit from that first sale only. All right. So let's say they're going to come to you 3 times a year, right, for the rest of their lives. You take the profit, that $500 from the first sale, and earmark that for marketing, right? And then that means with that $500, in our example, cost of acquisition was $250. That means with that $500, if you invest that back into marketing, you know that for that one customer you got, you can get 2 more customers. Okay, maybe you're not going to invest it all in marketing because you need to pay the rent and you need to pay this. Maybe you're going to invest 50% of it back, in which for every 1 new customer, you can get another new customer. Okay. Again, some assumptions built in here, right? It's not like a linear prospect this way all the way, but it gives you an idea in terms of the approach and the mindset that you need to have in terms of creating your marketing machine. This thought process is what's going to make sure you have a sustainable long-term business that you're always adding new customers and clients to. So 3 things then that I gave you in terms of building up your marketing machine. Number 1 is the specific objectives of the marketing piece that you're doing and taking your customer through this 4-step journey of AIDA: attention, interest, awareness, and desire. Right? The second thing is then thinking about the mix of your inbound marketing and your outbound marketing. Okay, knowing then that your inbound is really going to be the long term, your outbound is going to be the short term. And then the third thing is then knowing your numbers. What is your lead acquisition cost? What is your customer acquisition cost? These numbers are going to be different for each marketing campaign that you run, but tracking those numbers and following it on a basis that it doesn't even need to be exact, but as long as you've got some sort of idea, you can then make some really meaningful decisions going forward in terms of how much you are going to invest, not spend, in marketing to grow your business going forward. Remember what I mentioned to you, you do have, as a result of you attending this workshop live, 10 of you are going to have an opportunity to sit down for 1 hour with a business coach from our company to really look at your marketing numbers and really think about how we can set up a marketing machine. Okay, so if you're interested in that, my contact details are going to go into the chat box in any moment soon. So feel free to take us up on that. Let me just give you a bit of an idea in terms of why this is important. Everything that we've talked about so far, this is the system that we used to say, this is a steering wheel and how you drive your business. And everything that we've talked about today is really in this finance and growth section. Okay, if you think about the principles of a successful business, okay, a successful business is built on guiding principles, not necessarily strategies. These principles are relevant to whether you're a travel agent, to whether you're a training company, to whether you're in Minneapolis, to whether you're in the UK or any other part of the world, to whether you were building a business in the 60s or you're building a business in 2021. The principles have always remained the same. It's how it relates to your industry and your time period is what changes. And therefore, the three basic principles of business are these areas in the white: finance and growth. Okay, so that's everything we've talked about today, the marketing and the sales piece of things. And then also, then how do you manage that money when you've got those sales coming in, right? Once you're growing your business, there's two other things you need to think about, right? There's the operations and scale. How do you make sure that your business is operating at a level that is consistent to your customer every single time? If you have the best experience in your industry, then how do you make sure it's the best experience every single time? Okay. And then how can you really grow that in a way that's exponential, so you can scale up and actually you're not spending all the hours in the business, but the work is being done without you. And then as you are getting bigger and bigger, you need to employ new people, right? And then that comes down to people and performance. These are the three guiding principles that you need to make sure you have a really good, solid, foundational business. And then in order to thrive, there's two other things. And that's where it's wrapped around in technology and innovation. So that means we're constantly improving. We're using advancements in technology to actually make our business better, as long as it's already a good business. And then as the heart of that, as the business owner, as the business leader, how are you setting a really strong culture in your organization that everybody loves to be part of? Your customers, your employees, your local community. And then how are you building leaders within and having some sort of succession planning? These are the guiding principles that we use at Kaizen to really make sure that businesses can thrive in today's time and today's economy. And part of what you've seen today is all part of the finance and growth section of how we work with our clients to make sure that they are building sustainable businesses. I really hope that these three tools have been useful for you. And I really hope that actually, some of you take into account or take advantage of this free 1 hour coaching session that we are giving away to help you build your marketing machine. I know that there's a lot of you on this call. So, unfortunately, we can't do everyone, but for 10 people, I don't know how we're going to decide who. Maybe it's going to be first come, first serve basis. Maybe if you tell us something exciting in your email or message, it will make you stand out. Maybe we'll do first come, first serve. But I'm going to open up the floor. We've got about 6 minutes left. I'm going to open up the floor now to see if there's any questions, comments, or issues. And I think you just need to put them in the chat box. So if you put them into the chat box is now open. We can have a look to see if there's any questions that are going to pop up. And while you're doing that, actually, I know it's in the chat box, but I've got my contact details are here. The email address and a number, and I know Jonathan has put in a LinkedIn a post over there as well, so you can connect with me on LinkedIn. But the two things then, just while if there are any questions and they are coming through, the two things that I'd like you to consider: you've taken pictures and notes of those exercises, okay? Based on what you've learned today, based on the discussion that we've had, what are you planning to do next, right? What is the one thing that you could do in your business tomorrow that would have the biggest impact? When you come to a session like this, often what happens is you kind of get bombarded with all of this information and you think that's great, I'm not sure about this one, and you're like, okay, I'm going to go and work on this, and then you lose it all, right? The fires start happening and you're firefighting, you're dealing with everything that needs to be dealt with at work. But if you could just pick one thing that you've taken from today's session, what would it be, and what would have the biggest impact on your business? That's something for you to reflect on. Question of, can we get a copy of the presentation? I don't see why not. If it's not sent out to you automatically, you've got my email address. Just get in touch and I can make sure you get a copy of that. If you have found this useful, connect with me on LinkedIn. I post about some of these things quite regularly. I have short videos on there and things like that. So feel free just to connect with me on LinkedIn, and it'd be good to see how you're getting on. So I can see one question on there. Let's have a look. We are a service-based business with limited capital. Any suggestions on what type of marketing to be trialing and airing? Okay, so yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure if you want to mention what type of service you are. Hey, this is one piece of marketing. We've got a number of people on here. So let me know. But let's just say, I don't know, let's say you're a bookkeeping company, for example. All right. Well, there's some really cheap ways of getting involved with other professionals right now, right? Like you can go onto LinkedIn and you can advertise stuff there and see what's happening. Is it going to get you lots of results straight away? Absolutely not. Okay. But that's one. You can use your social media feed, right? But the key thing is, how are you using your social media feed? So, for example, if you are, let's take two examples. Let's say you're a company that let's say you're a hair salon, right? One's a hair salon and the other one is a bookkeeping service, right? You need to think about, where are your customers hanging out, right? Do I really go onto LinkedIn to look up where my salon is going to be? Probably not. Maybe your salon is going to be better for Instagram or Facebook, for example. If I'm a bookkeeping service, do I need to be around other professionals? Yeah, probably. Where do most professionals hang out? Well, they're on LinkedIn, or professionals in terms of when they're in professional mode are on LinkedIn, right? So maybe that's where I need to be. Think about, where are your customers hanging out and where can you connect with people? So that's number one. The second thing then that I would say is, which I think is a really good, effective way of marketing, is who sorry, let me think about how to phrase this. Okay, where do my customers, sorry, who do my customers also buy from? Okay, let me repeat that. Who do my customers also buy from? So I can see here you've put in there that you're a cleaning company. Okay, so and again, not sure what type of cleaning, but let's say you do home cleaning. Okay, so what types of people need cleaners for their home? Well, number one, it's around when I'm moving house, right? Whether when I'm renting a property and I finish that rent and I go into another rent, I need to do a move out clean and a move in clean, or whatever they call it. Well, actually, can I be then talking to estate agents to say, hey, we offer cleaning services. You have to manage that process with your tenants. If any of your tenants can't find a cleaner, could you kind of refer them our way? All right. Really cheap. Maybe you can give them a cut of every business you get if you have to pay something. Sometimes people are just happy to refer you for whatever reason that is. If you're a bookkeeper, then maybe it's going to be about other professional services, business attorneys, CPAs, business coaches like myself, for example, could refer business to you. So there's some really quick ones. It's what we call strategic partnerships. Okay, so think about, who could you partner with? The second thing then we talked about is, well, where do your people hang out and how can you reach them in a cost-effective way? So hopefully that answers that question. Let me know if you've got any follow-ups. I'm not sure if that's a question or just a comment. Time investment upfront for long-term results. Assuming it's a question. So in terms of what we mean by time investment upfront, is the amount of time you set on your website, right? It's going to be a significant amount of time, but then that's going to pay off dividends in the future, right? As I'm posting stuff on social media, for example, on a weekly basis, etc., maybe it's not going to pay any dividends now. But hey, once I learn about your business, then I would go on and have a look at, well, what do I need to, did they post 6 months ago, 9 months ago? So whilst it may not be relevant right now, it will be relevant to somebody at some point in the future. So that's what we mean by really front loading our investment now and then it paying dividends going forward. So let's have a look. So we own two 100K SF office buildings in a slow COVID market. We email brokers and business owners several times a week with videos of empty suites and deals. What would you add to that, please? So I'm getting from here, we've got office buildings, and we're emailing brokers. Okay, so there's two things over here, right? Like there's some things, remember we said that there's some things externally that are really going to impact this. And, appreciate that it's probably been a really, really difficult time for you right now, right? In terms of people are not going back to the office anytime soon, or maybe they are, but that's why it's been slow for you in terms of the market. So yeah, you work in a market that's pretty difficult right now. Is it on the forefront of people's minds going back to the office? I'm not sure it is. But actually, can you make that in the forefront of people's minds? Great that you're kind of reaching out to certain brokers and business owners and telling them that you've got space. Maybe we need to talk about the benefits of being in a space. Maybe we need to talk about that. Actually, get it that maybe things aren't going back to how they were with people being in the office 5 days a week. But guess what we're going to do for you? We're going to provide you a really good space where you can be here 2 days a week or 3 days a week. We're going to be, maybe you're not going to be working from here 9 to 5, but we've got really good spaces for you to have your a meeting in a socially distanced, healthy way, and whatever that is, right? Because going on a sorry, and I've noticed the time, but trying to go back to what has always been is not going to be the way. Let's think about what we're going to be doing going forward, right? I am conscious of time. There are still some questions coming in. So, hey, feel free to, my contact details are here. If you've got any further questions, feel free to get in touch, drop me an email, and I will make sure that I get back to you. And that consultation is there. So, Angelina, I say, how do I get a consideration to be one of the 10? Be quick, I would say. Be quick, and we can make sure that we get you in. Perfect, and I think that brings us to the end of it. Thank you very much for being part of this today. It's been a pleasure spending these 45 minutes with you. I hope you have a good rest of the exhibition. I hope that you get a lot from it, and good luck in all of your businesses.
Thank you so much for that informative presentation. We really enjoyed it. As a reminder, this webinar was recorded and will be available on demand within 24 hours on smallbusinessuniversity.online. Again, I want to extend a very special thank you to our sponsor, AT&T Business. Please remember to frequently check out our webinar schedule on smallbusinessuniversity.online for other great weekly business building webinars. Thank you all for joining us, and have a great rest of your day.